Oh, it's on? Oh, I was just playing my Switch. This thing is pretty awesome though. Today I wanted to do a video about what I think Nintendo should do as a follow-up redesign. Obviously, my hands aren't huge, but I think this wasn't made with hands in mind. And that's just one of the things that I think the Switch could have changed a little bit. And since I have the talent to draw, I figure, hey, why not throw my little ideas in there? So today's video is going to be about Switch redesigns. And I'm going to take some of the comments that I saw on Twitter, some that I've seen in my comments section, even some from coworkers at work. So let's. All right, so let's get started. Definitely the one thing I think the Nintendo Switch can use a lot of is just simple, small tweaks. And I drew a couple of blueprints. I'm wearing some blue today, my Vegeta hoodie. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to pop up Sketchbook Pro here. And here's my first redesign. I call it my SNES Nintendo Detachable Joy-Con. And what's nice about this one is that I'm hoping that the Nintendo online Switch service eventually has Super Nintendo games. And with that hope, I hope that they create a Joy-Con that looks like the Super Nintendo controller. So as you can see here, I gave a power meter, tells you the power of the Joy-Cons, and the USB-C type connector. So you can actually attach it to either the Joy-Con grip or the Switch itself, and give it some bigger grips here on the edges. And obviously a D-pad. Second idea I had here was a projector dock. Basically, it'll look just like the regular dock, but on this version, you'd actually get to put the Switch here on the dock, and then right here in the back, there's a projector with an extra HDMI splitter. So you can, output gameplay, your power cord. These are just wanted add-ons. You can even add a bass boost here. And then in the front, it would have bass boost, Bluetooth speakers. Obviously, the Switch doesn't have Bluetooth compatibility yet, but let's hope. This is all hopeful, wishful thinking. My third one was steering wheel shaped grips. The center actually expands and detracts, so when you put the Joy-Cons in, you get the feel of a steering wheel. This probably already exists, but like I said, they don't design it for big hands, so this one would have thicker handles. And then I call these my Pro-Cons. It's basically your basic Joy-Cons, but the backs have grips on them. So that your hands, I don't know if you've run into this issue, but here on my Switch, the back is very flat. And anyone who's ever played the Switch for long periods of time, especially playing Breath of the Wild, it's very flat. And if you have grip issues like I do, after extended play, and sometimes I'm playing at an doctor's office or on my break at lunch, so having that extra grip back here would be amazing. And I know it's going to take away from the design of the Joy-Con, but here's hoping that Nintendo might make a thicker unit so that it sits somewhat flush with future iterations. I'll put that back. All right, now we're going to pop to the fourth design here, which is nothing crazy. This is like what I was saying, a redesign actual unit. So with a higher definition screen, hopefully 4K. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Switch wouldn't be able to run 4K smoothly, but ever since they released YouTube, they have Hulu on there. It'd be nice to maybe watch something in 4K. And then a mini HDMI out, so that way you can actually output while you're holding it. I mean, it's not everybody's going to use it, but I thought that was one of the things that I kind of was bummed out about that the Switch didn't have. And then right here, Saltendo. So this would be my idea for a new dock. This dock would actually, the screen would actually be open, so you can actually see it with clamps, so that way you don't have to worry about the Switch falling out. I've already had an issue where my daughter was pulling one of the controllers, and the whole dock fell down. The Switch, luckily, was okay, but just the idea that even in the dock, it's not safe. So having this open area where it clamps over the Switch, obviously, I did 2 clamps because of the fan in the top, and more USB ports. I'm a USB snob. I love having USB ports. And that was pretty much it for my basic ideas for Switch redesigns. But then I went to Twitter and asked my Saiyan crew, Super Nintendo, the Checkpoint Show, Goblin215, Gamer Thumb, and Your Player 2, and they gave me some really good feedback. Let's see here. Obviously, Super Nintendo wants a D-pad Joy-Con. I know that Hori makes one, but it's Hori. I'm pretty sure he wanted a first-party version. And then he says, for giggles, add a shoulder mount that allows the Switch in front of your face so that you can use the Joy-Cons. That sounds like a no-brainer for sure. And a visor similar to the Gear VR. I totally agree. This is what I would do, is put a strap on the top and a strap maybe going over the ears so the ears support the weight of the Switch. And obviously, since the main unit is rather light without the Joy-Cons on it, your head will be able to really support it very well. So put some ears here, and this will be Super Nintendo. Hey, Super Nick. And then the Switch would go in there. Maybe add some ports, so in case the Switch is running low on battery, you can pop it in there. Maybe have a headphone jack so that you can actually get some surround sound. Obviously, another thing that I hope the future Switch iterations have, just like I mentioned earlier, the Bluetooth capability is having the Bluetooth speaker capability. So even then, if you have like AirPods or Beats by Dre, you can actually route the sound and you don't have to have all these wires hanging off of you, looking like RoboCop. So, Super Nintendo, thank you so much for that submission. And then he also said a Virtual Boy version tabletop mount, so that, in case Nintendo does release those Virtual Boy games on a virtual type console, you'd be able to play them all over again. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good one. Extra battery life. Now, I know that there's a lot of third-party peripherals that add power to the Switch, but my idea goes a little deeper. So the normal Switch, this is obviously not to scale, but the normal Switch is about this thickness. And I know that they're probably cost-cutting measures or whatnot, but even if they add just a little bit more girth, they'd be able to fit maybe another battery in there. I'm not a technician. I am just a concept artist and a comic book artist, so obviously they know more about this stuff than I do, but having that extra battery pack would be great, and then you'd be able to have the option to route power to the Joy-Cons. So I know a lot of guys and gals out there have probably played their Switch, go to take their Joy-Cons out, put it in their Joy-Con grip, and then don't have any juice. So if the Switch could somehow route the power to the Joy-Cons when needed, and that's when an extra battery would come in handy. Alright. So another redesign that I think would be awesome is maybe a sliding screen. And obviously this is wishful thinking, but I don't know if anybody remembers the Sidekick cell phone back in the early 2000s, but the screen would swivel up. Obviously that has some mechanical issues. I used to have one and it slid right off. But this being the screen, and then here would have a physical keyboard. Obviously this would take away from the components. This would take away from the components inside, but tell me that would not be super cool. I'll put QWERTY. I know some parts of the world don't have a QWERTY keyboard, they have a different type, but... And let's see what other comments are in here. You gotta love Donkey Kong. Alright. Another one. This one's actually from work. One of my coworkers, everyone at work has a Switch, but one of my coworkers is a huge Switch fan, and he absolutely hates how the screen looks in very bright situations. So maybe having some sort of a screen filter, not a screen protector, but an actual screen filter that blocks glare. This is important for games like Breath of the Wild. Some sort of netting here that kind of blocks the light. I know newer phones have it now built into their displays for, you know, if you're out in the sun or whatnot. But playing games like Breath of the Wild, if you're playing in handheld mode, sometimes the glare will get in the way and then you get killed, and that game, you know, the enemies come out of nowhere, so... Well, thank you so much for watching that, and I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to do some more stuff like this in the future, and a little bit more in depth. Obviously, the blueprint sketch style lends really well to video because the blue and the white contrast kind of help, and it actually helps my eyes because blue is one of the only colors that I really see pretty well. So with that said, if you have any ideas for future videos as far as maybe PS4 redesign, even a brand new PS Vita, I would love to hear it well, read it in the comments, but just let me know what you want to see, and if you even have any ideas for a Switch redesign. Obviously these were kind of rushed. You know, I drew these a while ago and kind of saved them and took some ideas from, you know, the community. I want to thank Super Nintendo, Nintendo Direct, Gamer Thumb TV, Your Player 2, Not Another Game Collector. All you guys gave me some great ideas. I'm sorry I couldn't feature all of them. I was trying to find them in this mess that I call Twitter, but obviously things get lost in the shuffle there. So maybe I'll do a part 2. Who knows? And when the Switch redesign does drop, maybe we could go over and revisit all these. I have a blast coming up with ideas for concepts, future gaming systems, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to keep it over 9,000.